So thank you very much again for joining us. And Erin, welcome to this session. It is a pleasure to continue working with you after so many years. Erin Jurgens is a unique thinker with a passion for learning anything and everything. Erin's background is in business as well as in international affairs with focuses on anti-drug and human trafficking in Latin America. She has been working in tech for over 10 years and currently works in go-to-market strategy and planning at Cisco. Erin has worked on various efforts with Pasos Libres for the past 7 years, and he's honored to be part of this event. So, Erin, welcome to this session. And actually, before you start, I have to say something important that I just remind while reading your bio. And I have to say it in front of everyone. Thanks to people like Erin, actually, Pasos Libres is what it is today. When we were a really small NGO based in Colombia, Erin actually gave us the opportunity to learn a lot from IGM. She was working for IGM at that time, and actually she took us to the United States to basically run a hackathon in a university in New Jersey. And based on that experience, we learned a lot about this. We have the opportunity to connect with so many people. So, Erin, I have to say this, but thank you very much for being part of the history of our organization, because of them, for people like you, we can continue creating spaces and opportunities and learning scenarios like this. So it is a huge pleasure to have you here, and welcome. The floor is yours.
It made my day. I'm so honored to be here with all of you. Oh, that was wonderful. Thank you. All right. Are we okay to jump in here then?
Yeah.
So many hearts. Thanks, guys. Okay, so I'm going to go into building an effective pitch for you here today. It looks like when I go into full screen share here, I cannot see the chat window. So I'd say unless it's urgent, please feel free to interrupt me. Otherwise, I'll take questions and answers at the end. Can everyone see my screen okay?
Yes.
Okay. So all of you are incredibly competent. You're going to build amazing solutions here. I'm just here to talk to you about how to package that all together and effectively communicate it to show the amazing things that you're about to build. So here we go. First of all, very nice to meet you. So glad to be here. Modern slavery and human trafficking awareness and prevention are very, very close to my heart. Really passionate about the subject. And as Sebastian mentioned, I used to run hackathons and I still participate in them, specifically on anti-trafficking. But because of that, I've gotten to see some thousands of amazing solutions, and they're so amazing and so technical. But if you can't put that together and effectively show what it is in 5 minutes or less, it loses a lot of the momentum. So that's what we're here to do today. Excited to be here with you. Looking forward to seeing the outcome of all of this. And thank you for participating and for making an impact on this really, really important topic. All right, so we're going to go through today. What is a pitch? Why it's important, some tips for building your pitch as you go, and some best practices specifically for virtual recording because they are different from in-person presentations. Things that you can do the day of to prepare and get ready, and then most importantly, the packaging of everything with your recording. And then we'll have some question time at the end. All right, so what is a pitch, which is different from a presentation itself? A pitch is a story. A pitch is a conversation that you are having with the judges of the competition. And you're given an awesome opportunity of 5 minutes for basically an elevator pitch. So you get longer than an elevator ride. So, but keep it brief, 5 minutes or less for this presentation. And I'll show you later in the presentation of an estimated breakdown, a suggestion that I have for how you can break down your
Hi,
presentation.
everybody.
Sorry?
No, go ahead,
Oh,
Erin.
okay.
Yep.
Be clear and concise in your presentation. Keep things very crisp. You want to definitely be persuasive. Your job is to persuade the judges to understand your idea as well as convince them to take action on it, to convince them that, yes, this is the one that I want to vote for. And you want it to be impactful. You think about when you listen to people speak, you might not remember everything that they said, but you remember how it makes you feel. You remember if it leaves a lasting impression on you. That's what you want your pitch to do. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We want to inspire interest. We want to inspire the judges to vote for your solution. Okay? Self-explanatory, but why are pitches important? You're going to be working over the next few days really hard and spending a lot of time on this. This is an opportunity for you to showcase what you're putting together, really get the idea out that you want the judges to see. And it's your chance for a first impression, right? You're not in person, you're not in front of them, so you're on screen, and them watching you there is your first impression. So it is an important and impactful moment. And lastly, you want it to inspire action. You want people to be thinking about your solution after you've presented it. Okay, let us then talk about how you build your pitch. So I always anchor on the who, the what, and the why and the how. So the who are you building this for? Is it for an end user? Is it for a victim? Is it to catch a perpetrator of modern day slavery, a trafficker? List your problem statement out. Very important as well, you can assume in this that the judges are going to be experts in this area of modern day slavery. That's why they were chosen to evaluate the solutions. So keep it targeted with what you say. You don't need to go into why modern day slavery needs to be addressed. They will know that already, but talk to them about who it's for and why it's important to that group. The most important part to me of the presentation is what you're showing them, what your solution is. So how does it work? What technically goes into it aspect-wise? And most importantly, be able to tell them what makes it different from what already exists. What is this do that no other solution does in the market? How does it set you apart? This is where you can also showcase technical things as well. If you're doing a demo, if you're going to record something, if you're going to do it live, this is where you'll show that. And then the why and the how is why should they choose your solution? Why will it be a market differentiator? Why will it be able to scale beyond one group or one country? And then how will that be disruptive 6 months from now, etc. So how will it grow? So who, what, and your why or how. Those are my foundations when I build a pitch. So let's talk about some best practices. First and foremost, know your audience. You'll be able to look at who you're speaking to. And again, can't reiterate enough, show your solution rather than the problem. They know that this is going to be a problem. What are you helping to address to make that problem go away? So we have the 5 minutes over here. I've done a rough breakdown. You do not have to follow this. This is simply a recommendation, but I like to time box the sections of presentations when I do them so that I know I'm on track. So a recommendation is that you spend an intro, 30 seconds or less. It should be brief. Hook the audience with a statement of why you're there and what you're looking to do. Spend a minute or less on your who statement. So again, what your problem statement is, what market you're addressing, who it will impact. The crux of your presentation is going to be around the what here. So this is your technical solution. This is what your solution actually is, how it functions, and how it will scale. And the why and how is how you're going to execute it. If you have a business case, this is where that fits in, that you could really make a difference here. If there's funding that's needed for it, if there's investment, that's where the why and how would come in. And then a closing statement should be brief as well. So again, just a recommendation, but if you have 5 minutes or less, recommend that you time box your sections into some sort of list like this to be able to keep yourself on track. Now, let's talk about just a couple best practices. Use legible font sizes. If it's super small, like I go to meetings at work and it's so small I can't read it, you want the judges to be able to see what's on the screen. Provide data and numbers wherever you can. If you have a business case to show what investment you need or where this will be impactful down the line, show that. If you have statistics, show those. That shows you've done your research into the topic. I personally write out a script when I'm going to do a presentation and when I'm going to record it. And that's simply for me to practice. That's not for me to read it at the time. However, it helps me to go through and to prepare. And I actually bold words or italicize them or make it like the word bigger so that I know to emphasize it and I can bring inflection in. So that helps me, okay, I should say this word a little bit more with emphasis. So, also don't read from your slides directly. Yes, you can read the words that are there, but you want to augment what you're saying on the slide. Your slides should not have extremely verbose things on them, and you should not read exactly from the slides. Cannot suggest enough to rehearse, practice. It's really important to go through and make sure that you're ready ahead of time, and you won't be super nervous on the day because of that, because you're rehearsed. And last but not least, be confident. You have built this solution. You know why it's unique, you know why it's different, and you know why it will be impactful. So carry that with you. No one knows more about your solution than you do. Okay? So let's talk about virtual recording. So you might have done presentations live, you might have done them recorded before, but they are very different in how you approach them. So I am going to make a couple of recommendations, and I heard on the presentation before there will be some recommendations that are sent to you as well. But decide on what tool you're going to use to record, and I'll give you 5 recommendations that are all free as well. So research that tool, play around in it if you need to before. That way it'll be very easy when you actually go to record. Run of show may seem kind of silly, but discuss it with your team. Yeah, I think I saw 4 or 5 participants per team. Are you going to have everyone speak? Are you going to have only one person speak or any combination of that? Talk to your team about it. Keep in mind that with the time box of 5 minutes, you're going to lose a little bit of time transitioning between people. So sometimes all 5 may not be a good idea. Who's going to advance slides if that needs to happen? Who is going to do a demo if that needs to happen? Discuss it all. We called it Hazard Army practice when I was at IBM. We used to plan for anything that could happen and we were ready for it. Practice, practice, and practice. Just get ready for the pitch itself ahead of time, early and often, and then when you're ready, you're ready. Use tactics that you would use in person. I'm trying right now to make eye contact with the camera on my computer as I would if I were with you in person. You probably see me using my hand gestures. I'm, moving my body. Interact with the video. Help the judges to know you as a team, you as a person. That the humanization of presentations can be the most meaningful thing. So use the tactics that you would in person, eye contact, etc. Real important, hide your notifications and sounds. There's nothing worse than recording like I was doing last week and a notification popping up to remind me that I had a meeting that was on the recording, so I had to restart. So hide your notifications, mute sounds, do not disturb is your friend while you're recording. Okay, these are 5 recording tools that I researched and I found helpful. OBS Studio actually was ranked #1 by several different sites and forums, so that one was highly recommended. ScreenRec was a pretty close second. And then QuickTime and Flashback Express are going to be if you're on Mac or Windows specific. They're pretty rudimentary, but they get the job done. And then one that I recently used, it is free as well. It's called Vidcast, and it did have a teleprompter tool that allowed you to read if you needed to through a long presentation. I don't recommend it, but if you would like that kind of security blanket, that's why I liked that one. So all of them should be really great tools to record, but again, test them out. You have free environments in all of them to work with. Okay, day of the presentation, getting ready for the main event. Practice ahead of time again, and if there are last minute edits, I actually caught something on this presentation right before I was about to present that was an error. So never hurts to have a last minute look through everything one last time. Ask your teammates to look through it, just in case if it's something that you have been doing, you've probably looked at it forever. Ask a second set of eyes to look at your presentation, your code, your demo, whatever it is. Check your audio and video quality. Most of these tools are going to have the ability to test out your video, test out your audio quality before you start to record. So highly recommend doing that. You definitely want these to be crisp for the judges. If you have a demo, plan where that's going to go in your presentation. And again, if it's going to be already recorded, if you're going to do it live, Test that out a few times ahead of time if you can. And then ample time for recording. I usually end up recording several different times. You know, the mistakes, you can make mistakes, you can edit things, but just allow yourself the time so you're not stressed when you're actually recording your presentation. Now, the recording itself, I like to kind of go into before, during, and after. So prepare your space, make sure you have good lighting, that you're able to see and hear yourself on there. I do a short test run, like a 30 seconds of the beginning of my presentation, or maybe the end, whatever it is, just do a short test so you feel comfortable with it, and you're ready to go. During, usually they'll have a time box in any of these softwares that you can see where you are. Just keep an eye on that to make sure that you're on time with where you have set your parameters for your presentation and you don't go over the 5 minutes. Use this inflection and gestures, make it an interesting presentation to hear. You can have the most amazing solution, but if you talk like this, it's not going to get you as far as if you're going to make it interactive. You know, these judges are probably going to be watching several of the videos. You want to make it worth their while and interesting for them as well. And speak with purpose. Again, you are the subject matter expert of your solution, of what you're creating here. And after you do it, ask your team to watch it, especially if you have only one presenter. Make sure everybody's okay with it. Make sure it is representative of what you and your team want to be, for your brand. If you need to re-record, re-record. A lot of the editing tools are extremely easy now. They make it very easy to parse together different sections. Or if you're a one-take wonder person, that's amazing as well. So you have options here. Okay, that was the bulk of my presentation here. We've gone through kind of the meat of the what we're going to go through. I would like to open up for questions and to see what you all think, if you have anything you'd like to ask. Oh, I see a hand raised. Adriana?
Thank you so much, Erin, for this wonderful presentation and for giving us your time to
Really glad to be here.
learn about how to do a good pitch. And I really, really appreciate all your tips. And I just want to maybe to emphasize a few elements. I'm trying to put my judging hat on. And as you mentioned from the beginning, we know why you are here, so we know that we are addressing the issue of modern slavery. We don't need you to spend any time on defining modern slavery or even mentioning that. What we would like to know at the beginning is, who are you? What is your team? Just spend a few seconds to tell us about your team. That's important for us to know. Even if it's just one person presenting, we know this is a team effort. So we would like to just, even if you have a slide or something, just with your faces and a little bit of your background, just a couple of seconds. And secondly, the problem you're solving is no modern slavery, even though we know this is the overarching goal, but say we are responding to challenge one, data. And that's, tell us a little bit more your approach on that. So try not to waste any time on explaining the big problem of modern slavery, just like Erin said, but we would love to know a little bit more about you. For us, it's very important to know that. The final thing I would say, as we mentioned, we will give you the evaluation criteria for the judging. So I'll give you a bit of a hint of what those are. Creativity and innovation. We really care why your solutions stand out compared to probably at least 10 other solutions in your challenge criteria. Technical completeness and functionality. So if you're picking up a challenge, we want to know that you've taken that solution till the end. Impact, scalability, and transferability. So we want to know that your tool is usable for and impactful for the particular users like NGOs and government. The user-centered design and usability is also part of the of this idea that you have really thought about the responsible development and ethical with your user in mind that you developed with. Explainability, efficiency, and effectiveness. So again, not only that you completed the task, but this actually works and is efficient in the way you design your pipeline. So we'll give you all this in more details, but during your presentation, if you are thinking about how to present, to tell us precisely how you answer all the criteria, that would be really useful as well. So then the judge doesn't need to spend a lot of time to say, oh, I think they answered this because they said this somewhere in the video. No, tell us. We have finished we completed, so we've ticked that criteria. We have responsibly thinking about the user by doing X, Y, and Z, and the judge is easy. Tick, 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 tick. Yes, all the criteria are met, and we really like the team. So those will be my comments on this. Thank you.
Excellent and very thorough. There's put a lot of thought into this. It's amazing. Any other questions or things you'd like to voice? Yes, I definitely will share the presentation, so that will be sent out after.
Yeah, Leslie, go ahead with your question. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I'm so sorry for my terrible writing. It's almost 8 p.m. Thank you for the great presentation. Maybe my quick question was, because I know you mentioned earlier that we would be able to do the pitch solo, or we would be able to do it as a team. So I was just wondering, in your experience, what do you usually see? Because I know there's pros and cons for both if you do it as a team or if you do it solo, especially when you only have 5 minutes. And I know sometimes in a group it can be a bit sorry, maybe less fluid. So yeah, I was just wondering what you usually see. You see it more happening as a one-person job or like a 2, 3, or does it depend? Just wanted to have your take on that.
Sebastian, I'll ask you to weigh in if you think differently. I usually suggest 3 or less people. 2 is usually great. Again, because you do spend time transitioning between different people. So I would usually have one person that was talking about the technical and one that was talking about the more business side of things and the solution itself. But that to me should be up to your team and based on your solution, how you design it.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like in terms of what we have seen in the past, we have seen everything. Only one person, two, three. But I agree with Erin. Maybe 1, 2 people, maximum 3. It is enough. We have seen pitches where like the 5 members of a team like present, and it becomes quite challenging actually to follow the conversation, and it distracts a little bit the judges. So 2 people would be the ideal number, and maximum 3 would be my advice too.
It's a great question.
Thank you so much.
I have seen people try to bring in guest speakers too. I was like, no, you cannot do that. So
And just to clarify, when Juan Pablo in our kickoff was showing you the structure of the GitHub, he mentioned it that you are going to have 4 minutes, but you are going to have 5 over that. So we are going to update that in the GitHub. But I just want to clarify, you are going to have 5 minutes to pitch your solution, so also you can follow the structure that Erin shared.
Hi. Still open for if anyone has any other questions, but I did want to wish you all amazing luck. Not that you need it, you're all amazing, but thank you for being here and for the amazing work you're doing.
And thank you, Erin. We are going to share also these slides with all you, so you can, just consider all the pieces of advice that Erin shared with us today. And also we are going to submit the recording in the link that we shared earlier in the Slack and the WhatsApp group. So thank you very much, Erin, for your tips. And actually, Uriel has a question. Uriel, go ahead. How are you?
Hello, hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, perfectly.
Okay, yeah. So I have a question about like, for example, the members of our team, we are not in the same country. So I don't know, it would be like a problem like to be in the same place and make a presentation. So I don't know if it would be possible for us, like for example, I don't know if we can do a Zoom and we attend the Zoom, each of us, and we share the screen and all of that. Don't know if something like that is possible to do, or if you have any idea on how we can deal with that problem.
Absolutely. And yes, my team is all over the world. So yes, we do the same thing either on Zoom or on WebEx, and share screen while doing it. A lot of the tools will allow you to parse together bits of different videos as well. So there's a lot of things that the tools will make possible. They were designed during COVID, most of them. So for virtual work.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Very good question.
Also, maybe when there will be when there are no more questions about the pitch workshop, maybe I'll spend a few minutes just explaining the data set. I've seen quite a few questions back in previous session and this session about the data, so I'll spend a few minutes explaining this, but just when the pitch session is finished.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so I guess we don't have more questions or comments for the moment. It was a very clear explanation, Erin. We are going to share also, I know that there are some people that want to follow you on LinkedIn. So if you agree, we can chat about that. We can share your LinkedIn with
Absolutely.
all the participants. So again, Erin, thank you very much. It was a pleasure to have you today.
Always.
And we are, of course, let you know how this competition goes and obviously share the pitches to see if they take notes and actually include your advice in their pitches. Thank you very much again for being here.
Thank you so much.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Erin. And maybe we can spend a few more minutes discussing the data. If you're interested, just so you know, we have the GitHub. I linked it here. So you could have reach it through the website about the project that is already on the hackathon page, but we will provide you a really in-depth run through of these solutions and all the different resources that we have. We have the data that we're having in this project. It is available in multiple formats, and one of them is our deep lake. So we have about 6,000 documents that we annotated at sentence level. And then we pre-processed this text. We broke it down in so many different formats that allowed us then to fine-tune our models. This data set is very big, and it's the one that you are all some of you have struggled to download it locally. I had run into the same issue with my own internet at home. It takes hours. And it's exactly this Figshare a link that was shared here. So if you go, maybe I'll share my screen so you can see. So this is our GitHub, and you can find all the details and see here it says the dataset can be accessed to Figshare or Hugging Face. And then we have prompts that we use. We have the code, it's all available here. And then we also have weights of the models, right? So this is those are the artifacts that we're going to use in this project, but then we have the papers. So you can find the preprints of this paper that were presented at conferences. They're also proceedings, but it's the same level of, so you can read exactly how all of those resources were built in this. Now, the Figshare, the very deep lake data, you might use it if you decide to really work on the AI model part, for instance, or the visualization part, but you don't have to, because also you can also find just the annotated data set. So for instance, in the Figshare, you will find the really big data set that is the full deep lake, so pre-processed and everything. But you can also download the small version, which is the annotated data set. So here you'll have statements, and then you'll have for each criteria the annotation, and then the text that was extracted. And this might be sufficient for your challenge, particularly if you're doing the data challenge, where we will ask you to go within these documents and extract text from tables and from infographics. You don't need to pre-process the data in our deep lake. So what I want to say for now is that you are welcome to download all the data, to download all the resources, familiarize yourself with, but don't be, if you are unable to access the deep lake, that's also fine. You also have all the other resources in a more raw format as well. So that should be okay. But in the workshop, the data workshop, we will tell you all about this in a lot of more details. That's what I wanted to say. And also, if you decide that you want to work on challenge one, the data, most likely you won't need the deep lake. Also, I'll be surprised if you are going to fine-tune models to the point that you'll need a deep lake. But if you do, then yeah, that will be for challenge two. Is that clear, or do you need more details now? We will share with you more details about the challenges. And when we do that, there'll also be all the links in there. But again, you only have to pick one challenge and work on that. So I think ideally you'll pick the challenge maybe by today or tomorrow, so you have a bit more time to really think about making a plan. And then when the 13th of September kicks in, you have just the full plan, and you just go and do your programming and hacking. And then if you really want to use the deep lake and you have the connectivity issues, you saw there are already some suggestions from participants on not maybe download it locally and so on. So there will be solutions. Just make sure you ask on the group. There are a lot of people here willing to support, not only us, but also the other participants. Do you have any more questions? If not, maybe we can give you back this last 20 minutes, and we'll be available on WhatsApp and on Slack. We will be sharing a few more documents with you today. You will see the participants handbook has a lot of information about modern slavery. You don't need to memorize it. We won't test you on that. This is just for you to learn a bit about modern slavery. You'll also have a panel, but we want to give you the context of why your work is so important, but you don't need to learn that. That's just for your information. What we want it is to learn from you on how to take these resources forward based on these three challenges, or even the blue sky innovation that we're so excited to learn from you. So again, choose your challenge, tell us what you're going to work on. And then if you are doing a Blue Sky Innovation Challenge, let us know, and let us know if we can help you, because we are so curious on what you have in mind. Okay, well, we're looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. Very nice and early here in Australia, but that might be the only session that is friendly in a way across the globe. So 6 a.m. here in Australia. It's going to be, I think, 9 p.m. in the UK, and midday in Canada, I think, or something around that. And we will start with all the governments sitting together explaining us this legislation. This is extremely rare, even in like high conference events, to have all the three governments discussing these laws. For us that we've been working in this field for many years, we're so excited. We got so many requests from people in the field that they said, "Oh, can we join?" And we said, "No, only the participants for the hackathon will have the privileged opportunity to ask direct questions to the panelists, but then they can watch the recording afterwards." So we really encourage you to join us, to learn from these experts, and then yeah, tomorrow will be a full day of learning. But in the meantime, don't hesitate to ask us any questions. So again, I see you have difficulties to download the big data. Again, if you want to download it, you try to find a different solution, but maybe you can think about working on a different challenge that doesn't require that. or if you really want to use the deep lake. So again, the deep lake is mainly so you can fine-tune models. We already fine-tune models with these still big models. You most likely won't need to do it, but if you want to, we'll help you. We'll try to find a solution for you. I encourage you, before going to the 18 gigab data, try to use the small CSV, ames.au annotated data set from the Figshare. I'll share my screen once again so you see it. So before you go here, familiarize yourself very well with this data set. So before you go to the deep lake, download this one and make sure you understand this one. So this will give you the statement ID, you'll give you all these different text. So this is annotated data so you have a statement, you have a criteria. It says that this criteria is met. So the company described the structure, and this is where the annotators downloads the information for that criteria. And then you will also be able, based on this information, to find metadata about the statements. We will explain all of this in the workshop on the data, but just again, before you go into the deep lake, familiarize yourself with this data set. The most of the resources will be already provided, so they're already open there. But I see you're asking that if you need to also prepare your own. So if you are going to work on the data challenge, you most likely will be asked to try to fetch other data sources as well. All the information will be provided to you in the workshop. But you don't have to. You can just focus on this data if that's what you want to do. But you will have enough resources as part of this project. If you want extra points, points for your solution, then you can go and look for other data sources. And we shared already two earlier in the session, the Global Slavery Index from WOC3 and the Wikirate dataset. I don't see any other questions, but if you have more, Andres.
Hi, everyone, nice to meet you. Thank you for Thank you for this opportunity to participate in that important challenge. I want to know if you will provide the exact amount of people that participate in each bounty or in each challenge.
So each team decides what challenge they want to work on?
No, excuse me. I meant that if we could know how many teams will be in each challenge.
Yeah. Well, first we will hopefully know that by the 13th. We would like to know as soon as possible, as you know, that the challenge you want to work on. You can tell us. We have already some preliminary statistics because we did ask you to give us your top 2. So what I can tell you by that is that each challenge will have about 10 teams. It seems it is very well distributed. So there is not one challenge that has more team than others. So from what you've already told us, we'll know exactly by the 13th, but I predict that there will be either all of the challenges be equally distributed among this team, or let's see the ones that have picked Blue Sky Innovation, how many of them will actually go ahead with that, or they will pick one of the other 3. But so far, what we know, it looks like all the 3 teams all the 4 challenges are equally popular. We'll see if that is the same by the end the workshops are being presented. Yes, Andres.
Excuse me. It was a tricky question, but could you tell us if we could receive the handbook before the 13th?
Yes, absolutely. The handbook will be sent probably by the end of today at some point, and the new terms and conditions. We just needed a few logistical meetings here internally to get a few things over the line. And then once we have all these approvals, we'll make sure to send it to you as soon as possible. Again, the handbook, it's mainly like an information, but we also have some cards for each of the challenges, so you'll have a better understanding on each challenge what we're looking for, and there will also be the links to resources there. And we'll share that with you as soon as possible. But again, all of this will be a lot more in detail explained during the workshops. And then, sorry for keep repeating myself, but if you're doing a Blue Sky Innovation Challenge, just let us know so we can also help you as soon as possible, because we don't want you to be at disadvantage compared to the other 3 challenges. It's just that we don't know where your vision is, so we want to help you with that. So reach out today
Thank you.
if you have that idea. You're welcome. Thank you so much for your great questions. So it was really useful to know, and again, that a lot of you seem to have troubles with the deep lake, so that will help us when we will have the workshop on the data. My colleagues that will present there, they are experts. They're the one that created this. So maybe we think about giving you recommendations on how to not have to use the deep lake if you can't, and how to go around that. One thing I'll say, sorry, and that's the last thing, you'll see when we describe the challenges, for us, it's not about the scale. So if you're building an app, or if you're going to do the data set or even the models, you don't need to bring in like a production level data set and models but rather we want to see how well you're developing this. Most likely we'll also have to only pick a few random samples of statements that you have assessed. So we will just ask you to send us a small sample. So what we ask you to do is to do small and good. So don't worry if you can't access the really big, large data sets, or you just think about very strategically about what you want to do and do it very well, and we'll know how to appreciate that. It's not about who does the most and the biggest. Also, because we know not all of you have access to the same level of resources, and that's why we said don't go for paid solutions. And in the GitHub, you'll have to give us a disclaimer on the resources you use, because if you're part of a big university and you have access to GPUs, we need to know that, because we will compare your solution with solutions from teams that don't have access to big computing power, right? So you'll see this in the GitHub. We'll try to make this as fair as possible, but remember that your user is going to be a non-for-profit or a government that doesn't have access to a large GPU or a lot of credits to run GPT as many times as they want, right? So work small, work clever, and think about how your solution is going to help those that don't have access to a lot of resources. I hope that is clear. Again, oh yeah, we have one more hand up.
Hi. Sorry. Thanks for all the presentations this morning. I just have one question about how the challenge of AI is going to be assessed. Do you have some sort of a questionnaire or a rubric, or you have a test data set that you would generate some performance metrics like accuracy, precision, those kind of things to evaluate our AI model?
Yeah, so we will provide more details into the workshop, but this particular challenge has been the hardest for us to design, because we needed to figure out what can we ask you, considering all the diversity of the teams, beyond what we have already done. We have fine-tuned models, we have great prompts. What we want you to do in that challenge, what we've done so far, was to take a modern slavery statement and assess it for compliance with the criteria as described in the law. Maybe this doesn't make a lot of sense now. By the end of all the workshops, you will do. So you take a challenge, you take a statement, and you're assessing, has criteria to structure been met? Yes. Then what is the evidence? And this is the text that the annotator extracted, right? So you're teaching a model to be able to do the same thing for each of the criteria. So there's 7 of them. We broke them down in 11 questions, let's say. So this is why this is our annotated data set, and then you have this evidence. What you're going to learn from the government tomorrow with this template is that We don't want anymore just to know, has the company described its structure or has the company described risk? We want to know a lot more granular information within that particular question. So instead of just saying, yes, the company has described risk of modern slavery, we have follow-up question. Have migrant workers been identified as risk? Have the company described risk of products? And so on and so forth. And our models, where the way they are today, they're unable to do that because we train them only for mandatory criteria. So in the AI challenge, we will ask you to figure a way to use our models or whatever you would decide to use, other models, other prompts. And when you're assessing a modern slavery statement, you're not just assessing for the mandatory criteria of the law, but you're asking for all these different granular questions from the reporting template. And then you are going to send us 100, 200 documents. We are going to randomly sample them, and we're going to assess them as a user, as if I am an NGO, and I want to see how well your model has assessed that statement. So while we will, of course, want to know your F1 scores and all of those things, the way we're going to assess that is going to be through a domain expert picking up samples from your documents that you've sent us and assessing it manually. That's why we're saying it's not about how big you're doing the work, but how well you're doing the work. Does that make sense? So this is not like a publication benchmark where we need you to prove to us that you are building based on our test and validation data set better than our previous models, but rather that your models will be able to do more detailed assessment and do it well. And what you're going to learn again in the workshops is the way you are going to provide that information to us is not just saying, yes, the company has described the products as a risk, but you have to provide us the explainability. So you need to tell us why your model has decided that products are a risk of modern slavery from this statement. So you can ask a chain of thoughts prompt to output the reasoning if you're doing this type of prompt engineering. But if you are using classification models, you are going to learn about the explainability methods we provided, but also we would like to see some innovation from you. So that's how we envision that challenge. Is that clear, or do you have follow-up questions?
Yes, thank you so much. I think we'll have more clarity when we come to the workshop for the development. Also, I think if we can know if is there a rubric for the judging criteria, I mean, or how much weightage you put on each criteria, that will be helpful.
Absolutely. Yep, we'll share this question with you. As I said, the judging criteria will be quite high level, so we can try to create them so they work for all the different challenges, considering we're picking one winner amongst all of the solutions. And then we will see how we will adjust the judging criteria based on each of the solutions so we can pick the winners within each challenge as well. So we'll provide more information soon. But I think as long as you're focusing on building tools that work well, you have a very high level a chance to win. And also considering, as I mentioned, responsibility and responsibly developing this solution and thinking about the user. And a lot of the next sessions that you're going to participate in tomorrow, they'll talk a lot about those things as well. Perfect. Thank you. Okay, so you already got some spoilers about what's coming up next. We'll share some more materials with you. You can familiarize yourself with the project aims, with the GitHub, read the papers. There's a lot of things that you can already do. Tomorrow, we invite you to sit back, listen on these sessions from these incredible experts. You can check them out on LinkedIn and so on. You'll be very, I think, happy to see the quality and the seniority of a lot of those speakers and how diverse their expertise is. and also having the chance to ask them any question. You can go technical, ask them whatever you want. They're here to help. And then we're gonna dive into the workshops, and hopefully all the challenges will be very clear. So you expect for us to get some new materials, get some new terms and conditions that you have to sign. You have to tell us what criteria, what you're going to work on, what challenge. And then hopefully you'll have a great weekend of hacking and building solutions.